falsified. It's impossible. I never broke the law. I am the law.
Hey guys, ECW fan, the collector here, and it's time for another monthly movies pickups. Yes, after a 2-month break from January and February, as we enter spring finally, thankfully, I have movie pickups to show, and it's a pretty good couple months for pickups. And the Blu-ray at the end is really, it's a good collection set that I found, and I'm pretty pleased by it. So let's get this started, okay? Let's get this volume started. Now, in the ECW fan vlog, a couple days before Christmas, you saw me pick up some movies from Keith, who has a Facebook group and he sells stuff. So for like 50 cents a piece, I picked up Spider-Man: No Way Home. This was a nice one. Now, this is the one I really wanted. I was trying to find these on Blu-ray because I like to collect the Marvel movies on Blu-ray, but for 50 cents a piece, I couldn't turn them down. I picked up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I had the I don't know if I have the first Doctor Strange or not, but this is a great horror film in the Marvel Universe. Sam Raimi done a very good film with this, with the Scarlet Witch, and man, it's creepy as hell. I remember, I told Eddie, I said, this remains probably one of my favorite films of that phase. I think it's phase 5. Phase 4 or 5. This is one of my favorite films of the entire phase. Because they basically took chances with it. Marvel, their movies have become from I can't say the word. Basically, they was all the same type of movie. Well, Multiverse of Madness shook things up a little bit. It's like, okay, we're going to introduce a horror film element to it. And with Scarlet Witch, it was really good because her story really lent to that. It's really a sad downfall in a way. Now, here's one from an earlier phase. It was Ant-Man and the Wasp. I had the first Ant-Man on Blu-ray. And this was the sequel. This was a very good sequel for this. And I liked it, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not a very bad film in the Ant-Man series. Now, this one right here really took a lot of shots. This is Ant-Man Quantumania, which introduces Kang the Conqueror. Well, Kang had already been introduced in the Loki series. And it's kind of sad that Kang basically didn't become the big villain that we thought he was going to be. But a lot was due to Jonathan Majors' issues, which really had Marvel pull the plug on it. Quantumania is going to be, it was a nice little story. It wasn't, Bill Murray shows up in a good spot. It was a nice little fun type series. Now, staying with action films. In the month of January, I picked up 2 more action films. And the first one I picked up was Bullet to the Head. And I've always wanted to watch this with Stallone. Revenge never gets old. I've been wanting to see this one with Stallone. I've seen it for the longest time. I was wanting to go see it with Eddie at one time, but we never did go see it. It was back in the early 2010s. It was right after Escape Plan with Arnold and after the Expendables movies. I don't think it did well. At the theaters. It's kind of a shame. Now, at a pawn shop, that came from Cheap Thrills, but at a pawn shop I was in, I found this set, and it was a 4-disc set of The Hunger Games. The 4-disc set. Well, all the movies are there. All the movies are there to that 4-disc set. I was going through them. I remember me and the guy was going through them all. The discs looked perfect. The first film, second film, third film, and the special features, except the 4th film, Mockingjay Part 2. Mockingjay Part 2 is not in the set, but the special features disc is. So, I plan to find Mockingjay Part 2 eventually at a pawn shop for $1 at some point. Maybe Cheap Thrills will put it out, and I'll just go ahead and put it in this set, completing it finally. But yeah, a nice 4-disc set of this. I had the first 2 films, and I was like, you know, for the price he gave me this, he sold this to me for, with 2 other movies that you'll see soon. I had to jump on it. I said, there's no way, I can't walk away from this. The deal that he offered me on this. I mean, I think it averaged out to $2.50 a piece, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get that. Plus, I love how that little that little thing right there, how it's highlighted out. Plus, I like the fingers on the back. May the odds be in your favor, or whatever the hell it was. I think it was "May the odds be in your favor." I think that was the name of it. Now, moving on, I picked up an animated film from a pawn shop. Another one. It is Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? And back in the 90s, Fox Kids had a animated Carmen Sandiego cartoon. And I actually talked about this in a long time ago in one of my Saturday morning cartoon things. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. And then it's actually got 4 episodes on it. It only ran like a season, I believe. And back in the day, now the PBS had that game show, Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, which is really good. That was a really good show. I used to watch the game shows, sing it a cappella, and they'd sing that group would come out and sing the Carmen Sandiego song. It's really cool. Now, Cheap Thrills had a Mr. Bean movie I didn't have. I think I had the first Mr. Bean movie, so I needed Mr. Bean's Holiday. And Rowan Atkinson is Mr. Bean. Oh, yes. You can't really go wrong with Mr. Bean. He's one of my favorite silent characters. He rarely talks. When he does, he talks with a very weird voice. You know how Atkinson does him. And there he is on the back, you know. Mr. Bean's Holiday. He's a very weird guy. I used to love the HBO series. The show that would show up on HBO when they would bring it over. I used to watch it before school in the mornings, and before I went to elementary school, I would watch it, and it was pretty funny. It was pretty fun. I love this where he's taking the test and he's trying to cheat off the guy, and he's like ducks down and like gets over on his side. Like, he's trying to. It was always like that. Always like that. Now, this was part of the Hunger Games deal. I got Saturday Night Live, the best of Chris Kattan, and I'm hunting these down, and this is one of those where I'm kind of happy to get them. So I went in the pawn shop, and I was in there looking, and when I got that Hunger Games collection, this was part of the deal. It was the Saturday Night Live, the best of Chris Kattan, and I'm slowly but surely hunting these collections down. I think I have all of them, except I think the 80s, which I could get online. I've seen it on Amazon. And I might go ahead and order that one. I would like to get the 1980s set. I would love if they would release season sets of 86 to 92. I wish they would release it like they did the 1980. I mean, I wish, you know, Saturday Night Live has been around 50 plus years. 50 years. And I know a lot of people rag on the show because they hate that the show mocks one of their favorite political people, but they've always done that. The show has always mocked political figures and always had fun doing it, you know. And Kattan, I'm not a big Kattan fan, but it goes with the set. I used to like his lawyer. The lawyer character is right here. The lawyer character where he talks so fast and so, and how he does, how he goes, "Sibida-da." And they're all confused in the courtroom, like, what the hell is he saying? Give me the law, Tom. He's just going so fast with the way he's talking. Now, here's another one that was part of that deal, and this is probably the last movie of that deal, and I went ahead and picked it up. It is the comedy. It's called comedy now, which I'm a little bit not sold on, but it's Freddy Got Fingered. And this has become a cult hit classic now. And Tom Green at one time was a very hot act in Hollywood. His show had caught steam, had really grew, had really become a big thing. And the Tom Green show. I used to watch some of the episodes. I admit I watched some of the episodes. So he started doing movies. He did Stealing Harvard. He did he did Stealing Harvard. He did the Senior Trip, and then finally he got his own movie, which he wrote and directed. And it's such a weird deal. The scene like this. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's just a weird movie. I can't describe it. I think he's a slacker that, is in his own brain and drives his dad crazy. So, another comedy I got from the 90s, and this is one that I really liked. And this one, it has Salma Hayek in it. Well, it has the late Matthew Perry in it. And it is Fools Rush In, where he meets this beautiful woman, and she makes him pose as her husband to her family, and it's a great movie. It's such a shame that Matthew Perry died. He battled some addiction issues, but he was funny as Chandler, and the place I think where he passed away at is gone now. I think it burned down in those fires. The LA fires back in January. Sad. Now here's a comedy that I used to watch a lot, and there's some Jack Black films I like. There's some like Nacho Libre and High Fidelity, and I like Shallow Hal. Shallow Hal, baby. Found this in the dollar bin, and this has a good story to it. This has a good story. School of Rock's another good one I like. This has a good lesson about judging people by their appearances and falling for them, beyond that. And his character learns a lesson, because he sees a woman for who she really is inside, and it's, and he goes to be with her, It's a nice story. It's a nice story. And finally, one of the last comedies I picked up, and I'm a big fan of Kevin Kline. I've always loved his movies. Kevin Kline's a very fun comedic actor. I've really picked up some good ones from him. Fierce Creatures, where he's really good in that one. I'm trying to find I Love You to Death. But in this one, he's with Lindsay Lohan, Virginia Madsen, John C. Reilly, Maya Rudolph, Meryl Streep, Lily Tomlin, Woody Harrelson. He's with Tommy Lee Jones. He's with a wide range of big actors. He's with a wide range of big actors. I think this came out in the 2000s. It is Prairie Home Companion, about a radio station. I think the radio station is I think it's getting ready to close, and they're all doing this show, and it's based off a real radio station type deal, possibly, I think. Well, anyway, this was a really big star-studded movie. I've never seen it. I've never seen the Prairie Home Companion. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get it, because it's got a hell of a cast to it. I mean, when you got Kevin Kline and Tommy Lee Jones and Meryl Streep, you're thinking, okay, this is a loaded affair, a loaded cast. Now we're getting to the horror films. And I picked up 4 nice horror films. This one comes from a pawn shop, and it's basically a biography. It's got Anthony Hopkins and Helen Mirren and Scarlett Johansson. Jessica Biel. It's a biography on Alfred Hitchcock. I've seen this one in there. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get that. I've never really seen it out before, and it's kind of nice to have a biography on Alfred Hitchcock. And if you don't remember, Alfred Hitchcock was one of the masters of horror. The Birds and Psycho. He had a lot of good horror films. And he had his Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I mean, man, some of those episodes were creepy. And so I went ahead and picked this one up. Plus, his introductions were some of the best. With Rod Serling, he would introduce the Twilight Zone, and Hitchcock is this British man, this not pompous, but had an air about him, like sophistication. He was a sophisticated man introducing these stories. That was really good. Now, another one I picked up, and I've never seen this one, but I saw it in the dollar bin in Cheap Thrills. And I picked up Darktown. I've never seen this one. It was a great place to live until it went to hell. Yes, Darktown. It was a great place to live until it went to hell. Yeah, that's what we say a lot about Mercer Street back in the day. It was a great place to live until it went to hell. I'm kind of intrigued about that. I'm like, how bad is this place? How bad is this town? Now, another one I picked up from Cheap Thrills, and I saw it in the booth. They had gotten some new horror films in. I was like, man, this looks really cool. I looked on the back of it, and I loved the skull cover. It was Anatomy. And this is like a 70s, 80s horror film. I love that hand, Anatomy. Yeah. I've never seen it, but it looks so, it was cheap and so interesting and Cheap Thrills. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get it. And I think there's a movie that Sean picked up, and he's supposed to tell me if the cover on it looked cool. I mean, it didn't have the slip cover, because the guy that traded in when he was in there, he didn't have the slip cover to it. And I was like, even the cover that you're showing looks pretty darn damn cool. But finally, the last horror film I picked up for the last 2 months was Drag Me to Hell, the unrated version. 2 versions, unrated and theatrical. Nobody has seen Drag Me to Hell. This woman gets cursed by a woman. She gets cursed, and something happens where she's going to get, her soul's going to get taken to hell. And Sam Raimi has done it. Sam Raimi did this one. He did the Evil Dead trilogy. He did Multiverse of Madness. So Sam Raimi is a very good horror director. I mean, this one and Evil Dead, man, it's very good. It's very good. So I can't wait to watch this one again. I ain't seen it in a couple years, so I remember watching it. And the end part was the nice little, I was like, oh man, that's creepy as a twist. And the end part will hook you each time. Get you. Now you're here for the Blu-ray. You're here for the big one. So I had a coupon from Cheap Thrills, and they give you one if you spend over a certain amount, you get a coupon. So I was in there, and I was like looking around, and they had just gotten this in. They had just set it on the shelf, and it's the James Bond collection on Blu-ray. All films. I've already got it already slid. I got the last film, No Time to Die, so I've got all 25 films of James Bond now on Blu-ray. So this one was sitting there, and it was sitting on the shelf. He hadn't priced it yet. The guy Jonathan was in there. Sean wasn't in there. So he just sitting on the shelf. He's like, I ain't priced it yet. He said, just walked in the door. He said, about a couple minutes before you come in. So I said, go ahead and price it. Let me see what it is. And it was affordable, man. It shocked me. It shocked me what the price was. I mean, this is the sets of it. This is the sets. You get, this is the, I think the only thing I kind of wished he would have had was better covers on the front. This is the first set. This is, this is the first set. This has 1962 to 1977. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 10 films. And the other one has 10 films from 1979 to 2002. And then finally, we get 2006 to 2015. And they're all here. And then I just got No Time to Die. So I've got every one of the James Bond films. I think that's my only little kickback, is that there's no images on the outside of these Blu-rays. Like no picture covers of like all the Bonds or any action sets. But because I guess he's like, look, we're pricing this cheap enough. You're getting the set. We're just going to, you're going to use your imagination to imagine them on the cover. But yeah, this was really good. But yeah, this was really good. And I was sitting there looking at this, and I was like, yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. So I went ahead and got it. I used my coupon on it. And it's gonna go on my shelf. I'm very pleased with that because I only had like 3 or 4 James Bond films, the Timothy Dalton ones, and I'm like, yeah, License to Kill and the Living Daylights, and I had like I think 1 or 2 of the Roger Moores, but I was like, man, it's like getting all the Sean Connery ones and the George Lazenby and Pierce Bronson. I was like, yeah, I can get those because I also had all the Daniel Craig Bonds, so I was like, I'm gonna have all those Bond movies now. So, pretty good ending to a 2 months after Christmas, huh? Pretty good ending. But I want to thank you guys. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like and sub the channel. For now, I am going to go drag myself in front of the TV and watch me some Drag Me to Hell.